happens when you want to make a teeny tiny strap like this, like a little, and you don't want to stitch it on the end and like make it flat, but your turner is a lot bigger than the strand you want to make. So I've got 2 little tips for you that I've recently discovered and used, even on wovens and on stretch, and that's what we're going to talk about today. Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Trisha. I'm the owner of Creative Costume Academy. Don't mind me, I am just jumping in here because I had to share this little tip with you. I was working on a thing and needing to make a tiny little strap like this, and I was like, you know what? You people need to know as well. Please don't mind, this is work attire. I call this my uniform, where I've got my needle in my boob. Yes, in my boob. It's the perfect place for it. You got the padding with the bra. Just go with it. You don't have to do it. And I've got my scissors so I never lose them, but careful, don't get it caught and poke yourself in the eye. Just saying. We're gonna talk about these tiny little straps. I did this recently on a swimsuit that I made where I wanted those really tiny little straps, and my point turner is only I only have the one. Sometimes you can get the whole set and you can get them in different sizes, but I only have the one. So I discovered another way. I want to share that way with you. It's really super easy. Just in case you're new around here, we do this thing called Tricky Thursdays because my nickname used to be Tricky, and I like to share little tips and tricks with you on Thursdays. So if you're into this kind of thing, make sure you subscribe so that you never miss out on a tip or trick that could help you in sewing world or pattern making world. In case you didn't know, I didn't introduce myself properly. I am your pattern nerd friend. I love everything patterns, obviously. I really, truly do. I learn and always enjoy learning and sharing, more importantly, with you about that. But today, it's a little sewing trick. First, we'll show you on this woven. This is just a regular, actually it's an old sheet cotton material, but you know, it may act different. I bet it would work even better if you are using like a satin or something slinky. And I'll also show you how this works with spandex. It was even easier with the spandex. But if you are using a woven, you do want to cut this piece on the bias. Now, I cut this piece at 1 inch because I want to have, you know, close to a 1/4 inch as my final result. So cut it by 1 inch, whatever length that you need. And then the next thing, you want to fold it in half and stitch at about a 1/4 inch from the edge. Once you have stitched it about a 1/4 inch away, and some people say that if you stretch the fabric to begin with, you've pulled out some of the stretch, and that helps when you're sewing as well, because it is on the bias, so it will have a little bit of stretch. Next step is to cut off some of this seam allowance to about 1/8 inch. And depending on what your fabric is, now this is cotton, it's cut on the bias, so it's not gonna fray a lot. If you're working with a fabric that you are worried about it fraying, you may wanna put in a second stitch to make sure that it's not gonna fray out on you. Or you could do like a little zigzag stitch, but the fact that it's on the bias, and for most fabrics, you won't have to worry about that. So once you've got that cut off, then comes the magic. So you wanna take a needle and thread, but a short piece of thread, and I like to do the double thread, so I have 4 strands here just to make sure it's really strong, but you could even go shorter than this. You go to one end of your strap, and you can even go into the stitching line of the very tip, and you just wanna pull through till you hit your knot, and then do another quick little stitch just as a safety, going through again, just like so. And then you wanna take your needle, you wanna take the back of your needle and go into the strap, the hole of the strap, and push it through. Until it starts to tug. Because you caught it here at the tip, eventually it will need to turn because it is now trying to pull that to the inside. So you may have to work with it a little bit to get it to start to turn, is always the hardest. There we go. I've got it started. So once you get it started, then you can keep pushing that back of the needle. And if your needle starts to come through, don't worry, that's why we're using the back of the needle. You just keep pushing that back of the needle till you get to the end of the strap, or if you get farther, if you have a really long strap, you might want to hold the back of the needle and shift some of that. So I'm pulling it through. Now it's going to the inside, and go until you can pull the needle all the way out of the other end of the strap. Voila, there we go. So there is my needle, and the other end of it is on the other end of the strap, but I've already started turning it, so I can just keep pulling it through. I'm pulling the needle thread through. This is why I like to have several strands of thread or really thick thread. Look at that. Ooh la la. Look how tiny it is. Isn't it fabulous? So there you go. We have a teeny tiny little strap. So here is another example using spandex and doing a spandex strap. It's the same method, and I think it works even a little better. I hope you found that helpful. I really have always wondered how to do this, to be honest, and just recently discovered, so I am super duper happy. The next time you want those really little spaghetti straps, or just to add like a nice design detail, you won't have to be limited by your tools. Knowledge is power, right? Make sure, if you enjoyed this, to please give me a like down below, subscribe, and turn on those notifications. I do try to post a new tip or trick for you every Thursday, unless it's crazy busy town. I did mention earlier that my #1 love is pattern making, and that's what I love sharing most about and teaching about. I do teach online if you are wanting to dive in and have been afraid maybe to learn about pattern making, or you're just ready to learn more. Check out that link below. Try out my free pattern masterclass. You can try it out for free, see if my method is for you. We also have Pattern Making Academy, where you can find that. It's a great program. You can start learning right away. Very affordable, monthly subscription, cancel at any time, stop, watch, replay, slow it down, anything that you want. Check that out at learnpatternmaking.com. I will see you again next time. Thank you for watching.